I believe that's a net number. So yeah, but I mean it was all, it all happened over one trip, and again it was just, incredibly lucky. And as you know, most of the time anybody who's been to a casino, you win, and all of anybody who's played cards in a casino knows that you often play for too long and lose whatever it is that you've won. I was fortunate enough to have to leave before that happened. So
I feel like the governor's got to be one of the luckiest people on the planet. Born into billions, comes into office after some of the more difficult times we've ever had, falls right into a bucket of COVID money and all sorts of other bailout money, and then heads off to Vegas for a weekend and makes $1.4 million. That sounds like the dream for not only myself but all of my constituents.
It's Governor J.B. Pritzker talking about how he won $1.4 million gambling, as was shown in a report from the Chicago Tribune that's got access to the governor's tax receipts. The governor's office and the campaign releasing those documents, partial documents, and obviously a lot of reaction. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. Wake up with us for this program and get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. So go to thecentersquare.com where you can read up on this, and you can read about $1.4 million that the governor made off of gambling. The Tribune reporting that the Pritzkers themselves paid $1.6 million in federal taxes and about $500,000 in state income taxes, with $10 million, over $10 million of income. That included $1.4 million from gambling. So the governor, he's a billionaire. He's got like, 3-some odd billion dollars as a heir of the Hyatt Hotel. And when the story came out late Wednesday, Thursday morning, Governor J.B. Pritzker held an unrelated news conference about the military and the use of the National Guard for public safety. He had several other members of the military, former generals and such there, criticizing the Trump administration. But afterwards, Jim Talamonte, the reporter for the Center Square, he asked the governor a question about this Tribune story and the taxes and the income he made off of certain gains and also the gambling winnings. Here is Governor Pritzker responding to Jim's question.
Another potential rival in a presidential primary could use the capital gains, the gambling winnings against you, sort of fodder in a campaign.
No. No. I think people know that when I got elected, and have known for some time, that I've been very fortunate in my life, and if they want to use something like that in the campaign, I don't know. But I'm not, right now I'm focused on running for re-election as governor. That's the only thing I'm focused on politically. And of course, most importantly in my job as governor today, protecting the people of Illinois from the unlawful acts of Stephen Miller and Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, and Gregory Bovino. Paris.
The governor was then asked about the gambling revenue and if you could clarify where that money came from.
No.
Were you gambling with millions of dollars?
I obviously, and I've explained this, or at least we did in a statement, that I went on vacation with my wife, with some friends. I was incredibly lucky. You have to be to end up ahead, frankly, going to a casino anywhere. It was in Las Vegas, and I like to play cards, and so that I founded a charitable poker match here in Chicago called the Chicago Poker Challenge that has raised millions of dollars for the Holocaust Museum here, and particularly to stand up for civil rights. That's much of what the Holocaust Museum does, and so anyway. That's all I can say about it. I mean, I had fun doing it. I encourage people to come to the state of Illinois and gamble in our casinos here. We have some really lovely places to go.
Governor, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, Olivia and then Mitch.
And then another question coming in.
The number that was reported, can you say how much you have lost gambling?
I believe that's a net number. So yeah, but I mean, it was all, it all happened over one trip, and again it was just incredibly lucky. And as you know, most of the time anybody who's been to a casino, you win, and all of anybody who's played cards in a casino knows that you often play for too long and lose whatever it is that you've won. I was fortunate enough to have to leave before that happened. So.
What was the final hand that made you?
Oh, I don't remember. Thank you.
What was the final hand was the final question that reporters got into the governor Thursday in reaction to that Tribune story. Several Republicans at the end of session, the House came in Thursday, they gavelled in, had some points of personal privilege, few words exchanged, they gavelled out. They didn't do any real business other than gaveling in and gaveling out, maybe some points of personal privilege. But some State House Republicans held a news conference to talk about the lack of action on affordability, the lack of action on property taxes, the lack of action on energy costs, the lack of action on the transit cliff, and the lack of action on bipartisan statements against political violence and such. So you've got State Representative Jeff Kiker and State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer at the tail end of that news conference. I'd asked for them to respond to this report about Governor Pritzker, not just paying a bunch of taxes on $10 million of income, but $1.4 billion in gambling winnings.
Was it blackjack? Is that what we found out?
That's been confirmed now, blackjack.
It is blackjack.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think I would want to sit at his left next time he's playing if I understand how the cards are dealt. I have a problem with billionaires. I'm going to admit that. I don't know if I need my hand on the Bible or what. I don't trust billionaires. I don't trust them because they've never had to make payroll with $0 in the bank. I don't trust millionaires because of how they take care of their money like this. It was a $1.4 million win. Wasn't that approximately the number? Billionaires are out of touch with reality. And we see that with how the governor has treated our most needy and vulnerable. We look at Meals on Wheels. We look at adults with disabilities in the long-term care facilities. We look at how we have continued to fund excess programs, violence interruption grants, health care for illegal immigrants. He has no basis in reality for what a dollar means to the working people of the state of Illinois. My mom waited tables to keep a roof over my head after her and my father got divorced. I remember the mortgage company calling because at the time, $323 was just too much for us to be able to meet. There were more days than dollars. We had the power shut off when I was a kid. Until you've got a sense of reality of what a dollar means, you can't judge accurately what needs to happen with the tax regimen. And I think the perfect example of that, Leader Davidsmeyer talked about the increasing revenues that we've had over time since the governor took office, 40% additional. They have continued year in and year out along the way to continue to raise taxes and fees each and every year. There's an enhancement each and every year. How can that be? How? Yes, I understand things go up over time, but the disconnect with reality, the disconnect for not knowing what a zero balance means in a checking account, I don't trust billionaires. I don't trust this governor, don't trust the last governor. I've met a few billionaires in passing just because they happen to come down and lobby from time to time. I don't trust them at all because they've never had to be responsible. What they say goes in all of their experience up to this point in time. So $1.4 billion or $1 million in winnings, that is so absolutely disconnected. And I think if I do the math right in my head, that probably represents what a 35-year-old making $45,000 a year would make from 35 to 65 years old. And he wanted sitting there. Tell me how that relates to the common man. CD?
And Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer.
I'm a little bit simpler. I feel like the governor's got to be one of the luckiest people on the planet. Born into billions, comes into office when after some of the more difficult times we've ever had, falls right into a bucket of COVID money and all sorts of other bailout money, and then heads off to Vegas for a weekend and makes $1.4 million. That sounds like the dream for not only myself but all of my constituents. I'm not a jealous person. Congratulations on your winnings, but cannot relate to the average man.
Interesting. And how is this going to be used by Pritzker's political opposition moving forward? We all knew he was a billionaire, but the fact that he would gamble and be able to get $1.4 million, how much exactly did he put down? How much did he lose? What really were the circumstances of all that? And you heard the governor answer those questions and didn't even remember what the hand was. Surely some of you out there may have gone to a casino and won a lot of money and you remember exactly what the hand was. But interesting stuff, and we'll continue to keep on top of that and more. It's right here with Illinois in Focus. I'm Greg Bishop for the Center Square.